Hey everybody, so I wanted to continue with our read aloud, Beezus and Ramona. This to me is a perfect day to read or listen to a book. It is kind of rainy and cold outside, and so I have, you can't see it, I have my nice warm blanket on my lap, and I have, you'll recognize him, Hobbs here with me, so he is going to sit and read with me today. As I read, it's nice to snuggle up with a stuffed animal or a friend, or maybe even mom or dad or a brother or sister while you listen to the story. So, all right, so we're on chapter 3, Beezus and Ramona. So, as we know, Ramona is a mischievous little 4-year-old girl, and she had gotten in trouble with the library for writing in a library book, and then Beezus had her art class, and Ramona ended up licking the lollipop of the boy sitting next to her, and it caused kind of a mess. But Beezus discovered that she actually had quite a bit of imagination. She always kind of felt like Ramona had more imagination than her, but she figured out that she had a wonderful imagination as well and drew that fun picture of a dragon with the cotton candy coming out of its mouth and the lollipops on its back. So super fun. So let's see what kind of mischief Ramona might get into in this chapter. This is called Ramona and Ribsy. Now, Ribsy, I'll give you a clue, is a dog. So let's see what happens with Ramona and Ribsy. One day after school, Henry Huggins, who lived on the next block, came over to play checkers with Beezus. His dog Ribsy came with him because Henry never went anywhere without Ribsy. Beezus liked Henry because she knew he thought she had more sense than most of the other girls, and the two often played checkers together. So far, Beezus had won 48 games, and Henry had won 49, not counting the games Ramona had spoiled by tipping over the checkerboard. This afternoon, Beezus and Henry knelt on either side of the coffee table with the checkerboard between them. Ribsy lay on the rug near Henry and warily, which means sort of cautiously, watched Ramona, who was wearing her rabbit ears and riding her tricycle around the room. Your move, Henry said to Beezus. I want to play, said Ramona, riding her tricycle up to the coffee table and shaking her head to make her ears flop. Ribsy got up and moved to the corner, where he lay down with his nose on his paws to watch Ramona. Okay, so here's Ramona. I think this is the picture I showed you yesterday. There's her bunny ears riding her tricycle. So here's Ribsy, and this is Henry and Beezus playing checkers. See that? Ramona looks like she might be up to something, doesn't she? You're too little, said Beezus as she moved a checker. Besides, only 2 people can play checkers at one time. We could play tiddlywinks, said Ramona. I know how to play that. Beezus did not answer. Her mind was on the game as she watched Henry's move very carefully. I said we could play tiddlywinks, Ramona yelled. Beezus looked up from the checkerboard. Ramona, please stop bothering us, she said in her sweetest voice. Ramona frowned and pedaled backwards away from the table while Beezus returned to her game and studied the board. She had to be careful because Henry had already captured half of her checkers. Let's see, she thought. I could move from here to there. No, that's not going to work because then he could, maybe I can move from here to there. Yes, that was it. Beezus lifted her hand to pick up her checker. At that instant, Ramona pedaled as fast as she could toward the coffee table. Crash! The front wheel of Ramona's tricycle rammed into the table, checkers bounced into the air and showered over the table, falling to the floor and rolling across the rug. There, said Ramona, and she pedaled away. Hey, said Henry. Mother, called Beezus, Ramona's bothering us. Wiping her hands on her apron, their mother came out of the kitchen. Ramona, you know you're not supposed to bother Henry and Beezus when they're playing checkers. Now, you go to your room and stay there until you're able to behave yourself. No, said Ramona. Oh my. I don't have anyone to play with, and I want Beezus and Henry to play with me. You heard me. Mother lifted Ramona off the tricycle. I'll bet she's going to have a tantrum, thought Beezus as she picked up the checkers. No, screamed Ramona. Ramona, said Mother in a warning voice, I'm going to count to 10. You can tell Ramona's mom means business, doesn't she? Yep. Ramona threw herself on the floor and kicked and screamed. Do you remember when we read the Gimmies, the Berenstain Bears and the Gimmies, how the cubs threw themselves on the floor and kicked and screamed? Yeah. Did they get their way, though? No. Just made the parents upset, didn't it? All right, what do you think's going to happen? Here she goes. Mother began to count. 1, 2. Ramona went on kicking and screaming until Mother counted to 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then she lay still on the floor, watching to see if her mom really meant what she said. There she is. Oh, look at her. Just like the Berenstain Bears and the Gimmies when they had those temper tantrums. Do you remember? Kicking and screaming, huh? 8, 9, she continued to count. Ramona suddenly got to her feet, ran into the bedroom, and slammed the door. Mother returned to the kitchen, and Beezus and Henry started a new game as if nothing happened. Tantrums were not unusual in the Quimby household. Even Henry knew that. In a few minutes, Beezus heard Ramona open her door. "Can I come out now?" she called. "Can you stop bothering Beezus and Henry?" Mother asked. "Nope," said Ramona, and she shut her door. Not more than 1 minute later, Ramona opened the door again and came into the living room. "I can stop bothering," she said with a sulky look on her face, and Beezus could see she was still cross, that means upset, because she had been punished. "That's good," said Mother. "Come here and I'll give you a cookie." Seeing Ramona go to the kitchen, Ribsy sat up, scratched, and trotted off after her. Although Ribsy didn't really trust Ramona, he was always interested in what went on in the kitchen. "I hope she stays there," thought Beezus, as she picked up a checker and skipped from here to there and captured 2 of Henry's checkers. The game became so exciting that Beezus almost forgot about Ramona. At the same time, she was vaguely aware of scuffling sounds in the hall. Then she heard the jingle of Ribsy's tags and the click of his claws on the floor. Ribsy gave a short bark, "Woof!" Then the bathroom door slammed. "I wonder what Ramona is doing," she thought, as she captured another checker, but she did not much care so long as Ramona wasn't interrupting their game. "Let me in!" screamed Ramona from the hall. "Let me in the bathroom!" "Ramona," asked her mother, "who are you talking to?" "Ribsy," said Ramona, and she beat on the door with her fists. Ribsy began to bark. From behind the bathroom door, his barks made a hollow, echoing sound. Puzzled, Henry looked at Beezus. Was Ribsy in the bathroom? Oh, there's Ramona, messing with the door. So where's Ribsy? Uh-oh, Ramona's out in the hall. So where's Ribsy? Yes, he's locked in the bathroom. Uh-oh. Henry decided he better investigate. Reluctantly, Beezus left the game and followed him into the hall. "Open the door and let him out," said Mother. "I can't," said Ramona. "The bad old dog went and locked the door." "Oh, stop pretending," Beezus said. She was exasperated, which means frustrated, with Ramona for interrupting the game for a second time. "I'm not pretending," she screamed, clinging to the doorknob, while Ribsy barked and scratched at the other side of the door. "Ramona," Mother's voice was stern, "let that dog out." "I can't," she said. "The bad old dog locked me out." "Nonsense. Dogs can't lock doors. Now open that door and let him out." Ramona began to cry, and Ribsy barked louder. Ramona gave the door a good hard kick. "Oh, goodness," said Henry. "Ramona, I am very cross with you," said Mother. She pried Ramona's fingers loose and started to open the door, but the knob would not turn. "That's strange," she said as she rattled the door. Then she hit the door with her fist to see if it might be stuck, but the door did not budge. There was no doubt about it. The bathroom door was locked. "But how could it be locked?" Henry asked. "I told you Ribsy locked it," Ramona shouted. "Don't be silly," said Beezus impatiently. "Now how on earth—" said her mother. "Do you suppose when Ribsy was pawing at the door, he bumped the button and actually locked the door?" "Of course. That's exactly what must have happened." "A dog that locked the bathroom door. Well, that's Ribsy," thought Beezus. "He's always getting into trouble, and now he was locked inside the Quimby's bathroom." "I told you he locked the door," Ramona said. "Yes, but what was my dog doing in the bathroom in the first place?" Henry said. I put him there, said Ramona. Oh, Ramona Quimby. Even Mother sounded exasperated. Sometimes I don't know what gets into you. You know dogs don't belong in the bathroom. Now go to your room and stay there until I tell you to come out. Yes, but, Ramona began, I don't want to have to speak to you again. It was unusual for Mother to be as stern as this. Crying, Ramona went to her room, which was next to the bathroom. Since Mother had not told her to close the door, Ramona just stood inside and waited to see what would happen next. Where's the key? Beezus asked. I don't know. I don't know if we ever had a key. But there's a keyhole, said Beezus. There must be a key. Ribsy, be quiet, ordered Henry. We'll get you out. But Ribsy only barked harder. His barks echoed around the small room. No one gave us a key to the bathroom when we rented the house, said Mother. And when Ramona first learned to walk, we fastened the button down with tape so she couldn't lock herself in. You did? Ramona said, fascinated. How big was I then? But nobody answered her. We've got to get Ribsy out of that bathroom, said Beezus. Yes, said Mother, but how? If you have a ladder, I'll climb in the bathroom window and unlock the door, Henry offered. But the window's locked too, said Mother. Maybe we could call the fire department, Henry said. They're always rescuing cats. Well, they couldn't do anything with the bathroom window locked, Beezus said. Yeah, I guess that's right, Henry said, sounding disappointed. It would have been exciting to see the fire department rescue Ribsy. Well, I just can't see any way to take the knob off. There aren't any screws on this side of the door. We've got to get him out, though. We can't leave him in there. He'll get hungry. Beezus did not think this remark of Henry's was very thoughtful. Of course, Ribsy would get hungry if he stayed in the bathroom long enough. But on the other hand, they would need their bathroom, and it was Henry's dog who had locked himself out. Beezus made a suggestion. Maybe if we pushed some glue under the door, Ribsy would get it on his paws and then scratch, and maybe his paw would stick to the button and unlock it. Beezus thought her idea was good until she saw the look on Henry's face. I just thought it might work, she said. Mother, began Ramona, leaning out into the hall. Mother paid no attention to Ramona. I just don't see what we can do. Mother, said Ramona urgently. Unless we get a ladder, go back to your room, Ramona, and break the window, we can unlock it. Mother continued, speaking with one sentence inside another, the way grown-ups often did when Ramona was around. But Mother, said Ramona, I have to... Oh, dear, I might have known. Well, come on, I'll take you next door. Leave it to Ramona, thought Beezus, to have her little sister behave this way in front of Henry. Don't worry, Ribsy, said Henry. We'll get you out. If we don't get him out by dinner time, maybe we could cut up some meat in little pieces and put it under the door. I'm not sure how we're going to get him some water, though. We have to get him out before then. Father wouldn't really like it if he came home and found that we had a dog in our bathroom. Ribsy couldn't have locked the door if Ramona hadn't put him in there in the first place. That was not a very smart thing to do. Beezus had nothing to say. What could she say when it really had been Ramona's fault? Mother and Ramona soon returned. I think we'll get Ribsy out now, said Mother. The lady next door says her little grandson locks himself in every time he visits, and she uses a nail file and showed me how to do it. Mother found a nail file, which she inserted into the keyhole, wiggled it around, and then the doorknob clicked. And Mother opened the door. It was easy as that. With a joyous bark, Ribsy bounded out and jumped on Henry. Good old Ribsy, said Henry. Did you think we were going to leave you in there? Ribsy wiggled and wagged his tail happily because he was free at last. Now maybe he'll be a good dog, said Ramona sulkily. He is a good dog, aren't you? He's not a good dog, said Ramona. He took my cookie away from me and gobbled it right up. Oh, said Henry, I didn't realize he ate your cookie. Well, he did, and I made him go in the bathroom until he could be a good dog. From the way Henry looked at Ramona, Beezus could tell he didn't think that was a good reason for shutting him in the bathroom. Ramona, said her mother, just because you were sent to your room is no reason for you to try to do the same to Henry's dog. It is too. He was bad. Well, I guess I should be going, said Henry. Come on. Don't go, said Beezus. Maybe we could play on the porch. Maybe some other time, said Henry. I've got things I've got to get done. All right, said Beezus. Henry probably knew they wouldn't be safe from Ramona anywhere. When Henry had gone, Ramona gave a hop to make her ears flop. Now we can play tiddlywinks, she announced. No, we can't, snapped Beezus. Yes, we can. Henry's gone. We can't because I'm not going to play, she said. Just then the telephone rang, and Mother answered it. Hello, Beatrice. I was hoping you'd call. Tiddlywinks, I want to play tiddlywinks, chanted Ramona. Not after the way you spoiled my checker game. I wouldn't play tiddlywinks with you for $1 million. Yes, shouted Ramona. Children, said their mother, I'm trying to talk to your Aunt Beatrice. For a moment, Beezus forgot and said, Is she coming over today? No, not today, Mother smiled. But I'll tell her you wish she'd come. Tell her she hasn't been here for 2 whole weeks. Tiddlywinks, I want to play tiddlywinks. We are not playing, said Beezus furiously. At that moment, she was so exasperated with Ramona, crashing her tricycle into the checkerboard, throwing a tantrum, shoving the dog in the bathroom. How could one 4-year-old do all of that in one afternoon? And Ramona didn't even seem like she was a bit sorry. Just look at her, thought Beezus. Cookie crumbs sticking to the front of her overalls. Her hands and face were dirty. The silly paper ears. Oh, sometimes she's just exasperating. Sorry, that's a hard word, which means frustrating. So, to get away from Ramona, Beezus stalked into the living room and sat in her father's big chair. As Beezus sat listening to her mother chatting and laughing over the phone, she began to feel a little uncomfortable. She felt like she ought to like Ramona all the time. Sisters always like each other, she thought. Mother and Aunt Beatrice did, but that was different. Aunt Beatrice wasn't like Ramona. She was, well, loving and understanding and full of fun, and Ramona was more like noisy and grubby and a little frustrating. Beezus felt a little mixed up. Sometimes I don't know how I feel about Ramona. I'm supposed to like her all the time because she's my sister, and sometimes I'm just not sure. There she is. Well, that's not unusual, huh? We love our family members, but sometimes they can do things that make us frustrated, can't they? Yeah, brothers and sisters. So we all have times that we feel upset or frustrated with things that they do, but it doesn't mean that we don't love them, right? Okay. All right, so chapter 4 is Ramona and the Apples. So Hobbs and I will be back tomorrow for another read aloud. So have a great day, boys and girls. Bye.